In this video, we'll be covering everything you need to know for the Middle Ages. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to learn more about my full Life in the UK test course, head to uklifeprep.com, link in the description below. Let's jump in. The Middle Ages was a period of constant war both at home and abroad. To make this section as simple as possible, I've got a bullet point for each region and what was going on there. Starting with Wales, in 1284, the English annexed Wales, which means they established their rule there, under a statute known as the Statute of Rhuddlan. In Scotland, in 1314, Robert the Bruce defeated the English at the Battle of Bannockburn. The English learnt a lesson the hard way that you don't mess with a Scotsman. In Ireland, by 1200, the English established rule in an area known as the Pale, which is just outside of Dublin. Looking abroad, the English participate in the Crusades, which was a war for control of the Holy Land, and the English also participate in the 100-Year War, which was actually 116 years, with France, and a famous moment during this war was the Battle of Agincourt, where Henry V defeats a French army who vastly outnumbered his own army. Things I'd remember from this section would be what the Statute of Rhuddlan is, who defeated the English, where in Ireland the English established rule and in what year, and the two wars the English fight abroad. Looking at some typical questions. The first question reads, which Scottish king defeated the English at the Battle of Bannockburn? We saw that this was Robert the Bruce. The next question reads, which two wars did the English fight in during the Middle Ages? We saw that this was the Crusades and the 100 Years' War. During the Middle Ages, a system of feudalism was established by the Normans. Feudalism is where the king would be mates with a bunch of lords who were allocated large areas of land in return for help in war. The lords would allow your regular peasant like me, known as a serf, to grow food there, and in return worked for their lord and would go to war whenever the king requested. In 1348, there was a plague known as the Black Death, which killed around 1/3 of the population. Following the Black Death, labor shortages resulted in peasants demanding higher wages, resulting in the emergence of a middle class as well as large landowners known as gentry. Things I'd remember from this section would be what a serf is, and what the Black Death was and how many people it killed. Looking at some typical questions. The first question reads, in 1348, 1/3 of the population died from what? We saw that this was the Black Death. The next question reads, during the Middle Ages, the serfs were noblemen who formed part of the king's council of advisors. True or false? We saw before that serfs were just your regular peasant who worked for their lord, and therefore this statement is false. During the period of the Middle Ages, a lot of legal and political changes occurred. One of the most significant was the Magna Carta, which means Great Charter. It was a charter of rights that the noblemen pressured the king to accept and established the idea that even the king was subject to the law, which ultimately limited his power. Parliament also began to develop during this period, and as the numbers attending increased, two separate houses emerged, the House of Lords, where lords, bishops, and great landowners sat, and the House of Commons, where knights, small landowners, and wealthy people from towns sat. Scotland had its own parliament, but it had three houses, the Lords, Commons, and the clergy. Law also evolved during this period, and in England, common law was established, which relied on precedent, that is, legal decisions were made by following previous decisions. In Scotland, the legal system was codified, which means it was written down. Things I'd remember from this section would be what the Magna Carta was, and the different legal systems that developed. I wouldn't worry too much about the House of Lords or Commons during this period, as there is a larger focus about this in the UK government section later on. Looking at some typical questions, the first question reads, what happened in 1215 that changed the king's power? We saw that this was the Magna Carta. The next question reads, in the Middle Ages, England's system of common law was established by referring to previous decisions and tradition. We saw that common law was based on precedents, which looked at previous decisions, and therefore this statement is true. The Middle Ages also saw the emergence of a distinct national identity and culture. Anglo-Saxon, which was spoken by peasants, and Norman French, spoken by the king and his noblemen, combined into modern English, and by 1400, official documents are written in English, and it becomes the preferred language of the royal court and parliament. In Scotland, people there continue to speak Gaelic. Geoffrey Chaucer writes the Canterbury Tales, which was a series of poems about a group of people going to Canterbury on a pilgrimage, and the stories they tell each other on the journey. This was also one of the first books printed by William Caxton using the printing press. John Barber writes the Bruce, which are poems about the Battle of Bannockburn and are written in Gaelic. Things I'd remember from this section would be which two languages combined to form modern English and from what year it became popular, what the Canterbury Tales were, who wrote them and who printed them, what the Bruce is and who wrote it. Looking at some typical questions, the first question reads, which stories did Geoffrey Chaucer write? We saw that these were the Canterbury Tales. The next question reads, by 1400, English was spoken in the royal court and parliament. We saw that this was true. Hi there, my name is Dan and I hope you enjoyed watching. I've posted this video for free on YouTube, and if you've liked what you've seen and want to access my full Life in the UK test course, then head to uklifeprep.com, link in the description below. In my course, I've completely stripped down the official guide and cut away all the nonsense to focus on what you actually need to know for the questions that are actually asked. Having prepared for the test myself, I know firsthand how painful it is going through 150 pages of dense facts and not having a clue the types of questions you'll get asked. I've used my 10+ years of experience in online education to build an easy to follow online course that promises to get you 100% ready in the shortest amount of time possible. To show your support and get updates on any new videos I release, please subscribe to my channel by clicking here. And to watch more free videos that I have posted on YouTube, click the playlist here. I look forward to learning with you and wish you the best of luck in the test.